Greetings. I want to share a few thoughts, as always unscripted, but things that I've been thinking about in response to these current goings on regarding anti-Semitism, specifically being the center of the focus at universities. Larger, of course, is the woke and the concepts of racial hierarchies of victimhood and all of that intersectionality, all of those things that aren't simply means to understand things, but have become or became and have continued to be means to rank suffering and therefore righteousness. Saagar of Crystal and Saagar's Breaking Points gave it's online, go watch it, gave another monologue yesterday, I watched it yesterday, and it followed up with the one he gave the day before, in which he is pointing out, as he's consistently been pointing out, that we should be about individual rights, position, equal application under the law, equal rights under the Constitution for each person. There shouldn't be special treatment. There shouldn't be safe spaces at universities. Now, these are details. I'm not going through that. You go look at it. Okay? I really encourage you, because he's done a good job of calling a number of these things out, including yesterday, calling out those who previously were in favor of freedom of speech, but when it came to or has come to the anti-Semitic callings, chants against not just Israel, not the country, but against Jews. He's called out that some people are saying they should be also in a special protected class, and that speech should not be allowed because it hurts the feelings and makes people feel unsafe. I've always agreed with that. I understood that when the Nazis marched in Skokie, Illinois, that we must allow the expressions, even the abhorrent ones, even the horrible ones, or we will not be allowed to speak ourselves on our own thoughts, on our own ideas. However, it's not to that's a finished statement. However, in response, Saagar, should you ever look at this, I'm going to tell you that this must run its course. Those who have engaged in that thinking, that ideology, that wokeism, that Marxist critical race theory, all of those things, they must experience it themselves. Until they do, they will never understand this. They might not ever understand it, but until they experience it, they will never understand it. It is with great sadness that I look at all of these liberal progressive Jews and think you have been so comfortable that the lessons of history you lost again. Because no matter how progressive you are, no matter how Marxist you are, no matter how much you do for them, no matter how much you authentically believe, you had your fist in the air, right? You took a knee, right? No matter how much you do that, they will always see you as not liberal, not progressive, not leftist. They will always see you first as a Jew. You cannot rely on their goodwill. You must have the protection of the Constitution, the institutions, and the concepts that each individual has a right to their own ideas, even if I don't like them. If you supported shutdown, if you supported safe space, if you supported the person, oh, I feel offended, therefore you have to stop talking. If you supported any of that, you must suffer. You must purge this. You must feel the pain of this to understand the fallacy, the fundamental fallacy of thinking that I can decide what someone meant, their intention behind it, and if I don't like it, they have to stop talking. We're not talking actions. These are the words. Liberal progressive Jews. You must endure this. And with the good Lord's will, you will come to an understanding that you have made a deal, you are on the side of the devil. Sorry. You're on the side of people who don't view you the same way you view them. Another example, there are these women, millions and millions and millions and millions of women, feminists, but in the older sense of equal rights, equal opportunities, chances, development, support of women's sports. Let's just use an example. Who are so liberal, progressive, Democrats in the US that they're always about the next, moving to the next oppressed group. Ties in. The oppressed group. Trans. They're so progressive and they're so accultured to having to support the oppressed as they have defined it, that they do not even now understand their own stupidity. Because so many of these women are accepting of men in the women's locker rooms and bathrooms and on women's teams and women taking women's opportunities. You couldn't write this and be believable if it were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, all this was humor. And now there's a member of Congress who called Riley Gaines in a congressional hearing transphobic because she was uncomfortable sharing a locker room with a man. This is a woman saying this. Does not matter that many of the women and girls don't want to be in a locker room with a boy. They must shut up. Liberal progressive women have gone so far, they do not see that they have abandoned the concepts for the oppression, so-called oppression. They must feel this pain. They must feel the infection. They must understand that women are losing opportunities because men are going into these locker rooms. Case, I don't operate this way, but I know so many of the talking, running mouths jump 6 degrees ahead. I'm not talking about actual people who have transitioned. They've done things to themselves to transition. Talking about, and the examples are those who say they identify as a woman. Therefore, they can go into the women's locker room. Therefore, they can compete on women's teams. They're still men. They're physically still men. They will always still be men because science says so. But a trans person who has transitioned is different from men who say they identify as a woman and go in and take women's spaces. Until the women, the liberal, progressive, Democrats, the feminists, until they feel and experience the absurdity of their own thinking and therefore their own creation. Until they experience it, it will not stop. Saagar, they must experience this. Liberal, progressive, and not just Jews, but there are other liberal progressives, leftists, who are looking at the vitriolic hatred of Jews by people they were linked with, they were on a knee together with, fist in the air. They must wrestle with that. They must wrestle with it. Do not excuse or leave it. They will never get the concept that you are expressing, that I've always believed. They will never get it until they experience the pain of what it is like when they are not in the favored position. This is medicine. Sometimes medicine is painful and difficult. They must take the medicine because their minds are poisoned. And until they take the medicine, and we will hope that they will throw it up, that they will hurl it out, that it will be the vomit that we know it is. But until liberal, progressive Democrats in the US, whatever, Trudeau's people in Canada, the BBC and all of those wokeites in the UK, until they are wallowing in it, they will never listen, let alone explore. They won't even listen. You keep talking, Saagar. You keep calling that out because that is where we need to be. That is where we were. That is where we should be. Keep doing you. But do not excuse them. Do not let them jump. Do not let them jump out of this, or that poison will still be there and they will just get a pass. No. No. The appeasers in the 1930s, the appeasers needed to be removed from power. They could not deliver because they were at their heart, they were appeasers. It was only after they endured the pain, suffering, the agony, did many of them come to understand they had been fools. Fools of good intention. War is terrible. No, who wants war? No one wants war. Fools in thinking that other people thought like they did. And they found war so abhorrent that they would do anything to agree so that there would be no war. They were fools because they thought others thought like them. Others did not. Jews. You're fools because you thought these liberal progressive leftists think like you. Welcome to the real world. I am eager for you to endure this because I'm eager for you to be on the other side of it. Son of Liberty 2020, amliberty2020@gmail.com, taverntalks.locals.com. Comment, share this. We must continue to raise the voices before we are stopped. See you next time.